What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Tristan Govender, for those of you who don't know, and today I've got an amazing spec BMW ZM coupe, and we're going to be taking you through a quick review on the car, showing you guys what an amazing machine BMW created back in the early 2000s, showing you guys some unique things that came out of this car and some of the similarities this car has with a couple other cars we have here today, some behind the camera, and we're just going to be telling you guys some really cool facts about the car. Hope you guys enjoy it. Let's get it. You guys are joining me at the back end of the car, probably the most controversial part of this car. For those of you who don't know, this car was actually developed from a BMW Z3 Roadster, and BMW engineers actually spent overtime at work. They closed up shop, and then from 5 o'clock onwards, they went and they designed this absolutely amazing design of a car. So the thought process behind it was take a BMW Z Coupe, a Z Roadster, which is a really good short base chassis, throw BMW's best engine at the time, which was the E36 M3 engine, the 3.2 liter, and then make the chassis as stiff as possible. This was actually the stiffest car BMW made at the time. BMW CEO actually drove it and stated that it was the most rigid car he'd ever been in from BMW's production line. So what they did was they took a Roadster, added a roof to it, and made it even more strong. For those of you who don't know, the Z3 Roadster is actually already a really stiff car because it's a convertible. So they have to add extra strengthening to the vehicle to make it as stiff as possible to support it for not having a roof. So what they did was they took an already stiff vehicle, added a roof, and added this absolutely amazing rear end. This is called the shooting brake rear end. You'll find it on the most popular one, which is the Ferrari bread van. They raced at Le Mans with it. It has this really awesome, sleek looking back with the hatch that opens up. I think it's a really amazing look. When this car was first released, not a lot of people actually liked it. It was either you love it or hate it kind of car, and I personally love it. I think it's really unique, and we don't see a lot of cars that look like this in today's era. So we're going to be taking you through a couple other things in the car. It actually shares quite a lot with the car behind me, the E30, because they were developed around the same time. So as you guys can see, I'm in the back of the ZM Coupe. This being the Coupe and not the Roadster, it comes with a really big boot. You can fit a dog in here, you can fit a human in here, tons of space. This is probably the perfect car for traveling. As you guys saw in the 2002 video, BMW likes to put big boots on their cars, some of them. This also comes with a little parcel tray that covers your things here, and it's got a dog cage, so you can see this is definitely a family car. You can take your dog around with you, or you can put a set of golf clubs in here. They actually fit perfectly. We've tested. So it's an everyday car. You can drive this car like a daily. It's perfectly comfortable, and it's really practical. So BMW don't just make really good performance cars, they make really good practical cars back in the 2000s. Okay, so you guys are joining me inside the cabin of the vehicle. As you can see, it's only a two-seater. We have the two-piece BMW M Performance seats. These were probably the most performance-orientated seats they actually had out in the 2000s. It's a really beautiful looking seat. It's a two-piece design with the headrest incorporated into the seat, which I'm a really big fan of because it looks more sporty. You can see it's a two-tone color. It's Imola red on Napa leather black. This spec car actually with the no sunroof and the Imola red seats, only 14 cars produced worldwide with the S50 B32 engine. So that's a really cool fun fact. So it's a really rare car. This was actually BMW's least production vehicle at the time, other than the CSLs that they released. So this is a really rare car that BMW released, especially if you have the S50 B32 or S54 engine cars. The American engine cars came with the M Performance straight 6 with a single throttle body. So we were lucky enough in South Africa to get the full set of ITBs, but we're going to be talking about that when we get to the engine side. You can see here, I'll show you a more detailed shot here of the dials. They look really cool. We have the oil temp, water temp, and then a clock to tell you the time, because that's really important. And then I'll show you guys the dials on the front here. We have our rev counter, speedo, fuel, and oil temp again. So it's really nice that BMW incorporated this. I think it gives it a really classical look with the chromed out dials and aircon switches, and we still have the original BMW radio in here. However, it doesn't work, but we do still have the original one, which is really cool. And then it's paired with an AC Schnitzer short shifter with the car. It's cool because it's chromed out. It matches the rest of the chrome finishes in the vehicle. So you guys join me in the front of the vehicle. As you can see, I'm sitting in an absolutely beautiful BMW E30 Recaro sports seat. This is actually out of my E30 325 IS sitting behind us there. I thought I'd use it as a prop, and this is actually the first time I'm sitting in the seat, even though I've owned the car for 5 years. Fun fact. So you've joined me in the front of the vehicle. We have BMW's infamous BMW S50 B32 inline 6. It's sitting with a set of 6 ITBs on the car. One of the best noise-making things on the vehicle is the intake noise from this car. Americans didn't get this engine; they didn't get the ITB system, so it's really sad for them. But we did, so I'm really happy that we got that. It's a really awesome sounding car because of the ITB setup, especially when you put a carbon intake on it. When you put a CSL intake on it, they sound amazing. So this engine is a 3.2 liter, and it's actually a really close resemblance to the very famous BMW S54 engine out of the E46 M3. I did make a video on that. So it's a really similar engine. They both have double varnish as opposed to my E30 325 IS engine, which is the S50 B30, which has single varnish. So this has a double varnish system, 3.2 liter, high compression, and it makes 321 horsepower, which is really impressive numbers for a car that was made in the late 90s, early 2000s. I mean, the car weighs nothing, it's really light, so that amount of horsepower is perfect for the chassis. It's mated to a 5-speed gearbox, and the diff that we'll put on the ZM coupes were actually made so it has longer ratios, so it's actually slower than a BMW E36 M3 in the quarter mile. So they did it so that it doesn't beat their flagship E36 M3 at the time, because this car would have. It's lighter, it has better handling, it's more rigid, and it has a 50-50 weight distribution because of the shift of the engine, which sits right over the wheels, which is perfect. So it's actually it was actually closer to a mid-engine car than it is a front-engine car, as opposed to the E30 325 IS I'm building in the back, which I'll show you guys. The engine is really far forward over the front end, so it has more weight over the front wheels. So this car's handling is absolutely amazing. I'll show you when we have it up on the lift. It has really close suspension to the E30. The rear trailing arms are the exact same, so I'll show you guys that suspension setup on the lift. In terms of the color on the vehicle, as you can see, it's called titanium silver or silver metallic. It's a really beautiful color. It's, as I said, one of 14 in the world, so it's a really rare vehicle. For those of you who must have been wondering, these things in the backgrounds of our shots, these are our props for today. So interesting fact, this is the head and a set of ITBs off an S50 B30, so my E30 that's in the corner there. It's the engine that's currently in that car. So I actually had a second engine, so this came with the car. So I have two S50 B30 engines. This is the second one. It's currently in pieces. I thought it would be a really cool prop. These are the cams that came with the car, the ITBs, just for a better version, a better look at them. So these are actually a very similar thing to what's in the car behind us in the ZM Coupe. You can see the individual throttle bodies here, and then when I open and close the flaps on the inside open. It's quite hard to see, but you can see them opening up and down. So this car has 6 of those. A normal road car would only have 1 or 2, so this car has 6 of them, which adds a lot of power. And then it's got the injector rail that sits on top here that squirts fuel through those channels straight into your cylinder. You can see at the top here, if we rotate to the side of the table, here's your springs and retainers. The cams run on top of this, and the cam lobes get press this up and down, opening and closing your valves. So that's how the engine works on a S50 B30. Very similar to the S50 B32. As you can see though, on these cams, there's only one varnish gear. That's because this runs a single varnish system. On the S50 B32, you'll see 2 varnish gears on the camshafts because it's running a double varnish system. So that's the main differences between the engines, and also the additional 0.2 liters of cylinder liter capacity. That's the word. Got it.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm a professional, as you guys can tell. So yeah, that's just, I thought it'd be a really cool visual representation, just so you guys can have a look at what an engine looks like apart. This engine hopefully will go into a car one day. I have a couple projects I need to finish. As you guys know, the E30 is still not done, but it is cranking over, and progress is there. Fire comes out the throttles, which means combustion, which is really good to know. So that car will be done one day. You'll see me driving around in it. But yeah, really good progress has been made with that. I've been recording everything, so that's going to be a really big video for you guys. But yeah, we're going to be popping this on the lift quickly and showing you guys what's underneath. As you see, I'm underneath the car. Don't tell my mom I'm under the car. She'll shout at me. She doesn't like me being under the car. Anyways, as you can see up here, we've got the rear diff for the car. I actually wanted to show you guys the suspension because it is the exact same suspension, as I've mentioned like 3 times in this video already, as that car over there. So as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, this is a parts bin special from BMW. BMW engineers just took whatever they thought was the best, chucked it into one car and said, there you go. So these rear trailing arms over here and rear suspension setup is from a BMW E30 M3, so the exact same as my IS over there. Rear diff is unique to this car. It's same housings as a Z3 or an E30. However, the internals are changed to make the car slower, as I said, from 0 to 100, so it doesn't outperform the M3s. We've got these really big exhaust boxes, which makes the car sound really quiet, which I don't like, but my dad won't let me change them out. Anyways, that someone's trying to give me a call. So we'll move on to the rear front of the car. We've got the exhausts that run all the way forward. This car does have an aftermarket fabricated exhaust I see over here. I do want to change them out for an X pipe instead of this H pipe here. I don't really like the sound of it. And then the front suspension is pretty similar to an E30. These control arms here are very similar, but this is E36 M3 front suspension, so front shock, stabilizer links, and the control arms. Really, between the E30 and E36, there weren't that many structural component changes. Everything is quite similar in terms of the geometry. That's why they handle so similarly. So if I take you on the front of my E30, it actually looks really similar, and so it's really nice to work in it because I'm familiar with everything under here. So I just want to take you a quick overview of what's under the car and show you BMW just chucked whatever they had at the time into this and wanted to make the best performing and handling car they could with a straight 6 engine. So that's what the underneath of the car looks like. There's a couple oil leaks that we need to address, especially the tappet cover leak. But that's BMW things at the end of the day. Yeah, so that's all for underneath the car. We're gonna hop in the car now and show you guys what that's like. Okay, so as you can see here, we've got an S50 B30 engine. This is not the factory engine in this car. For those of you who are going to complain that I'm saying it is not the factory engine. This car came with an M20 engine, 2.7 liter from factory. For the people who don't live in South Africa and know, BMW South Africa put a 2.7 from the Alpina cars into this original chassis. So this is a 325 IS. Original IS with a 5 lug and no back headrest and the 2.7. So we took that out. For those of you who are purists, I'm sorry, but this is an overall much better engine. Makes way more horsepower, it's got ITBs, and it's just better for performance overall. And it is actually a lighter engine than the 2.7 engine, so there's that. I just want to show you a quick visual representation. Before I mentioned how the engine in the ZM Coupe sits much further back. If you look at where our strut towers are on this engine, on this car, you've got about the front 4 cylinders hanging over, when the ZM Coupe was about the front 2 cylinders. So that right there is, you can see the handling difference on the car. So the E30s are known for, they're really good handling cars. However, they're really good for drifting and sliding around because all that front weight hangs over the front, so the back end is really light. However, in the ZM Coupe, because everything is shifted backwards and you've got the addition of the roof, it's a perfect 50-50 weight distribution. As to this, is probably like a 60-40, 65-35 split based off assumption. I don't know exactly. But yeah, this is just a quick visual representation. And you can also see the ITB system here. Yeah, so this car is actually cranking over, which is pretty cool. Fire spits out the front. Trent almost got me caught on fire earlier. Yeah, but yeah.
We weren't talking about that.
Yeah. So yeah, this car is coming along good for those of you who are wondering. Look, I'm aiming to have it completed by mid next year. Will be completely finished. But yeah, we've made good progress, and you guys will see that in an upcoming video. But yeah, just a quick update on this car, and I will always find an excuse to mention this car because it is my favorite car in the world. But yeah, we're gonna hop in the ZM Coupe and take you guys for a quick drive. We are inside the BMW ZM Coupe right now. We are running a mic up top of my cap. We don't have any external mics because we just tried an external mic on the outside of the car and it didn't work well. You couldn't hear me on the inside. Just for information, we have a mic on the camera as well, but it's fine. We will try our best to see what we can get. We're stuck in front of behind a i10. That's fun. Anyways, let me talk about the vehicle. So, as I mentioned before, 321 horsepower, absolutely blistering speed. I'm lying. It's okay. Look, for a 2000s car, pretty fast. Definitely slower than any new modern car right now. But it's not about that for me. It's not about speed. It's about handling. It's about how you drive a car. That is what gets it for me. So, if a car can handle really well, I'm happy. It's got a really notchy shifter. You know, it's got enough power. I mean, you don't need more than this on the road. And the car handles really, really well. As I said, perfect 50-50 weight distribution. It's probably the most commented thing on by automotive journalists, but you know, they have a reason for saying it. 50-50 weight distribution means really, really good handling and really, really good weight placement. So when you want to chuck the car into a corner, you can have full faith that it will get you through that corner, and I can tell you for a fact this car will. The shifter is really, really notchy. It is extremely well built car. As I mentioned before in the video, this car is rigid. I mean, you feel every bump on the road, but you also feel that the chassis is really, really stiff, so you have none of that body roll. I mean, I drive a car from 1969 and I can tell you body roll is a real thing. And when you're taking your car on a corner with a bit more of a spirited drive, you definitely feel that body roll, and this car doesn't have it. So I'm really happy to say that. This car feels really fast to me because it's the first time I'm actually experiencing all 321 horsepower. Originally when we bought the vehicle, I always felt that it was really slow, like oddly slow. Not slow in the sense of it's an old car, slow in the sense of an M3 engine shouldn't feel that slow. Right, so when I scanned it originally, I put the launch on the vehicle. It picked up that the O2 sensors are an issue. And then when I went to check the O2 sensors, this car has a DCAT, so it has the cat foolers, so it can't be the O2 sensors. So we just carried on driving as we do, because I work at a workshop, but I don't work on my own cars. I work on other people's cars. So I left my own car and didn't fix it. And my dad and I did a really long road trip with the car, perfectly fine. I mean, it was like a 7-hour road trip, no issues with the car. We sat at like 120, 140, we averaged between there, and the car had no issues. It was obviously slower, but no sputtering, nothing. The next day we went to go drop my sister off at school, parked at the garage, filled the tank up, and the car didn't want to start. And we're like, what is the issue? Because we can hear the fuel pump relay is still working. There's power going to the fuel pump's turning on, and then we figured out that the fuel pump isn't sending any fuel to the engine, so that's why it's not starting. So I ended up buying a fuel full pump kit from BMW, and because I filled the car up with fuel and it was full, I had to actually sit there for about an hour draining out the fuel, which was really fun. I actually got a cool picture of that. And yeah, so it was an absolute pain draining out that fuel, but it had to be done. and eventually we put in the new fuel pump, and the car feels alive. Like, I mean, this car felt like an absolute donkey. I mean, it was slow. I think we have a BMW X3, the first gen. I think that felt faster than this car at one stage. Yeah, we've got all 321 horsepower, and you can definitely feel it. It's really, really responsive. You can feel the ITBs. I mean, you can hear the intake noise, those 6 ITBs opening up. This car has an accelerator cable, which is pretty cool for you guys who have your drive-by wires. This is a cable that is run to your throttle body, and when I press my pedal down, the cable pulls the throttle and opens up the throttle, for those of you only used to drive-by-wire. So yeah, the E46 has drive-by-wire. I like drive-by-wire, but on the E46 I have to press a sport button to get it to be really responsive. Here I have to put my foot down to be really responsive. So it's always at full tilt. However, on the newer cars you have to put your sports mode on, your dynamic drive, and all these different configurations to get the most out of a car. But back in the early 2000s, BMW built a car that is responsive out the box, and I think that's how cars should be. You shouldn't have your eco modes in a sports car. That's not how things work. But yeah, you can definitely feel this car is extremely fun. Revs all the way out. Handling is really good. Brakes are pretty good. The car doesn't weigh much, so you don't need big Brembo brakes. One thing is, when you see all these manufacturers saying 4-pod braking systems and all these things, that's because their cars weigh over like 2,000 kgs. That's why they need the braking systems. I drive a Ford Capri that weighs sub 1,000 kgs. Brakes are perfectly fine. I mean, they work. If you need to stop, you step on the brakes, but on all the lighter cars you don't need those big braking systems. So yeah, as you can hear from my tone towards newer cars, I don't like them. Some newer cars are really cool, don't get me wrong, but the majority of them are too heavy. They're too driver aided. I mean, they help you so much when I don't need help. I know what I'm doing. I mean, build the car for me to drive, not for the car to drive me. That's not how things should be, right? So that's why I like the older cars, and so I choose to drive the older cars. I tell the car what to do. So don't tell me your traction light is on. Don't tell me your oh, this car does actually have ABS, so my bad. That's the only driver aid I do have in this car. But yeah, I don't have traction. These cars never came with traction. Your right foot is your traction at the end of the day. So if you know how to modulate your accelerator, you'll be fine. And if you don't drive a fast car. Simple as that. If you know how to get the most out of your car and put the power down, do it. If you don't, stick to driving a commuter belt. Simple. I think, you know, it's got enough torque. I mean, we're in 3rd gear right now.
Yeah, it pulls quite nice.
Getting up the hill. I mean, I'm at like 2,500 RPM pulling up the hill.
Yeah.
Don't need any power in that. Downshift. Just able to ring it out. I mean, I'm not pushing the car hard. It's an older car, so I'm not gonna run all the way to the 7,500 RPM limiter. Usually I'll run it between like 3 and 4, which gives me enough power to get around. If I ever do take this car on track, I will probably have to build out the engine or something, because I don't feel comfortable taking a 24-year-old engine onto the track and revving it to 7,500 RPM. But yeah, it's an older car. We don't abuse it. We drive it carefully, but we get the most out of it that we can responsibly. That's a good word, responsible. I'm very responsible when I drive these cars. I'm not like those guys who, you know, slam the accelerator and get the back end out. You don't do that in this channel. Yeah.
Maybe
so,
the person behind the camera, but yeah.
Person behind the camera doesn't have rear tires anymore, because that's all he does. Trent, Peter sir, SRK.
Don't call me out.
He has an SRK 350. When he comes to visit me in Discovery, all I hear is screech, because he's running those tires. Hopefully Uncle Craig sees this video.
Oh, please, no.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all I have to say about this car. It's really fun car. You can really push the car and have 100% faith that it will do what you want it to do. And that's why I love BMW at the end of the day. We have a W204 C63, amazing car, but it's just got so much power to the rear wheel. So this car is definitely much slower, but you can push it around a corner much faster, and I think that's why I love this car, and I love BMW in general. All the BMWs, let me note that. BMW after like 2017, 2018 kind of lost the plot. Especially with their styling. Don't get me started on the new, I don't even know the model name. I know model names of the older cars. I don't even know what the new M5 is called. I know up until like E60 M5. I don't know past that. The new M5 is just, it's such a heavy car. And that's where I think manufacturers lose the plot. I mean, I went to SWAT Corps the other 2 weekends ago, and we drove the new W206 C63s around the track. And I mean, that car is blisteringly fast. I mean, it's a 4-cylinder turbo, but it is super quick. I mean, it's all-wheel drive. It's got the hybrid system, and it makes like, I think, crazy numbers. It's got like 700 something horsepower. It's got like 900 something newton meters of torque. I don't even know, but it's crazy figures, right? But when you push the car on track, it's so heavy. I mean, you get to the braking zones, you're on the brakes, you feel the weight. I mean, you can hear the brakes crying on the car. You turn it into the corner, those poor tires have to take like 2,000 something kgs on them through the corner. I mean, that's not how cars should be. Cars should be light, nimble. You don't need more than 300 horsepower in a car. 400 horsepower is fine, but you really don't need more than that because the car is so light. So these new manufacturers are boasting all these numbers, right? But they're only boasting those numbers because at the end of the day, you need 700 horsepower to take 2,400 kgs around the track, right? And I think that's where they lost the plot. They're just pushing these numbers, they're pushing the numbers, but at the end of the day, the cars, they weigh much more. And that's one of the downsides to modern cars. All these driver aided assist things look, I mean, the hybrid system is one of the biggest things in the new W206 C63. That's why it's so heavy, because they've implemented a hybrid system. Same as the new M5. I think it weighs more than a BMW X6, which is pretty insane. And I think that's where manufacturers have lost the plot. A car should not weigh more than 1,400, 500 kgs, honestly. It doesn't need to weigh more than that. And I think Colin Chapman says it the best, right? You want to make more, you want your car to go faster, take out weight. No need to add more horsepower, just take out weight. And that's what manufacturers need to do, because a lighter car with less horsepower is more responsive and better handling. That at the end of the day, I think is what car enthusiasts want out of a car. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Sorry about my little rant. But yeah, that's why I love this BMW ZM Coupe, and that's why I love all the classic cars that we have, because they're light, nimble cars. Yeah, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is the first kind of style of video we have. Oh, we've just got into a really dark place right now. Let me quickly move into the shop, get some light, and do the outro. Yeah, I mean, thank you. See, this is a really good cameraman. He knows what to do in certain situations. Let me just pop into the shop. Yeah, so that is the end of the video. We have gone through the car. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you learned some new stuff. As I said before, not a lot of people know the ZM Coupe. You really have to be an enthusiast to know the car. So your average person walking by, they look at this car and think, what in the world is that weird looking car with the big back end? I mean, most people don't know what to label this car. It's just got an M at the badge of it, no lettering like newer BMWs or the E30, which tells you exactly what it is. So I think it's a really unique car. You really have to know cars to know what this is, and I think that's what I appreciate about it. If you know, you know, right? I think that's what I love about this car. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something new. I hope you like this style of video. And we've got some new equipment. We are going to try learn how to use the equipment to the best of our ability and bring better content to you and more consistent content. So we're going to try upload every week and bring content to you guys. Hope you enjoy the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you for watching.
Whoa, what was that?
No, it's just grease.
Why is it so...
I don't know. What did you think I put gooey stuff on you?
It looks hella weird, I'm not gonna lie. Hit the stance, bro.
No, I always hit that stance, bro. But Wait. Look at that, oh, shot. Ah, wait, it's...
Nice way to taste.
Okay, ready?
It's foaming already. It didn't catch it though. You go.
I mean, we're in the car. We were never in the car the first
What?
time. I'm gonna just make it seem like this is the first time.
This is going in.
Okay. What did I say before? I forgot
Keep
it.
it rolling.
Okay. So this car has handling I've just spoken about. What else do you speak about in a car?
Speak about the fuel pump.
Ah, thank you.